Hello everyone, good evening, welcome to a Tuesday night, and it's a Tuesday night with TGP1 action, and you join us on the streets of Monte Carlo. We're in the Principality, we're in the south of France, and we're in for another night of fantastic racing in the Premier Series of the TGP Series. I'm joined in the commentary box tonight by, well, it's the one and only Mr. Craig. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing very well, Mike, and I'm excited for rounds 3 and 4 of the season in Monaco. One of the best tracks on the calendar. I just can't wait to get going in a couple of minutes after this qualifying session.
Well, Jack, we saw an interesting week last week in terms of the racing that we had. We saw two different winners. We saw Softy winning a race. We saw Fishy winning a race. And just to top it all off, one of those race winners, the six-time champion, TGP1 six-time champion, is not going to hear for qualifying in Monaco. He had some problems pre-qualifying, which means he's going to be starting this race from the back of the grid. And if there's any track that you wanted to start from the back, or you didn't want to start from the back of the grid from, I'd say it's this one.
It's the absolute nightmare for Softy. Out of all the tracks, you can have a disaster. This is not the one you want it to be, and this season looks so tight at the top. Those guys were so close. Both battles last week, it could prove a vital week for Softy, losing out in so many points.
Yeah, massively. It's huge for the championship. And, with Machine Island, also is known as Machine Fisher, I should say. This is me getting my names confused already. It's only been a minute or so into it. Currently on the front row of the grid, just behind Gort Gill, who put a great lap in a few minutes ago to take provisional pole. We've got a lot of drivers in the pits at the moment, although Jovial Manatee is just coming around the final corner in his Alpha Tower. He's going to come up to the line in a few moments' time. Is he going to be able to improve on his 1 minute 10.8? Yes, he does. He improves by 0.3 of a second, but it's only good enough to put him in P8. So with just under 5 minutes left to go of this qualifying session, so we've got a lot of drivers out in the pits at the moment, although your provisional pole sitter Court is on a lap at the moment. I know he's just backed off. So while we watch him trundling through the tunnel, let's give you a rundown of our provisional qualifying order. As I said, with just a few minutes left to go. So we've got Court, provisional pole from Machine Island, winner of the last time out, in second place at the moment. New Zealand Cam, our reigning TGP1 champion, is third. Casper is fourth. He's quite quick, the Finnish driver, so keep an eye out for him tonight. Speed Kai is fifth. Sixth is Jack Hickey, putting a good showing in McLaren at the moment. Then it's an all Alpha Tauri, fourth row, seventh and eighth, Mirko and Jovial Manatee. Ninth is Sound the Man. Jonas is in 10th, and then just outside of the top 10 we've got Wet Lemons, Phil Bargewell in the Ferrari in 12th, Matt Tibos 13th, Shek Weiss 14th, Lewis Craig 15th, Dom Smith down in 16th, Dan Morris 17th, and Mr. Chiapelli, the only man not in the sub 1 minute 12s at the moment, down in 18th. But, Jack, we've got Court, our provisional pole man, just starting another lap. Take us on board for a lap in the Sauber.
Well, here we go now. And he's hit the wall, and he's in the other wall, and that is just the absolute commentator's curse I've ever seen, man. And that's his lap completely over before it even begins.
Yeah, he didn't even get to the end of Sector 1. I mean, I tell you what, wasn't he lucky not to rip a wheel off then? My goodness gracious me, he's just got away with no front wing, but he very nearly could have had no tyre to go with it.
Absolutely, it's a disaster, but Casper will start his final run. He's had 2 out laps, so his tyres will be nice and warm into turn 1. He goes right down to the apex and uses all the entry, almost hits the wall on the left as he comes up the hill now through Casino Square. The Alpine driver will go. He was so quick in both races last week, he just wasn't able to turn them good pace into victories. Will he be able to do that with Softy starting in P19? It's looking good so far from Casper. Not quite quick enough though to match Court Gill at the moment, but he's looking to make up some ground in Sector 2 as he comes under the tunnel for probably what will be the last time in his qualifying session in that beautiful Alpine car that's unfortunately going to be covered in black carbon fibre next time we come around here on the game. It looked like a wee bit of a corner cut there, but he's gotten away with it so far. Car number 72 into the final sector, into the swimming pool section. It looks very smooth and very fast, and he's putting the car as close as it possibly can to the walls to try and match Court Gill's time of a 1 minute 9.551. He'll open the DRS for the only time on this track, and the run up to the line. It's pole position by 0.5 of a second so far.
What a lap. I mean, that last sector was something else. Full commitment. You saw him just in the second part of the swimming pool section. The inches he left. Not even inches. It was millimetres that he left the wall on the right-hand side. But look at this. Jack, we've got Machine Island, who's on a good lap at the moment. He's just gone purple in Sector 1.
Purple so far for Machine Ireland. He's the man that won the Brazilian Grand Prix. He probably should have had a TGP1 championship many years ago. He's looking to make up for past mistakes as he comes down the hill now. Left, then right, and he's cut the corner, and that's a disaster. And it falls now to the Williams of Calm.
Yep, and he's just behind him on the road, so he's coming through that Nouvelle chicane, and he's nailed that one. He took just the right amount of curb, and as he heads towards Tabac, our reigning TGP1 champion then in the Williams this season, he's finding a little bit of time, but at the moment, that's still going to put him some 7/10 off our provisional pole sitter, clipping the wall as he goes through there as well. And Cam, with just a couple of corners to go and a run to the line, is he going to improve on P4 in a race where he really needs to get some decent points on the board if he's going to challenge for the title again? The run to the line comes, and he does improve, but not in terms of position. That is not the sort of lap that Cam would have wanted. And meanwhile, Jack Hickey's jumped up into 5th without being seen by us.
Yeah, Jack Hickey had a really good lap last time around, and I tell you who to watch out for. It is Speed Kai. He's currently 3 temps up. He clips the wall on the right-hand side there, round the final corner now for the final time in this qualifying session. What can Cam's teammate do? He's had a wee bit of a moment on the exit of the final corner. Will he be able to improve his P5? He steals that spot from Jack Hickey on the 3rd row of the grid.
Yeah, I think he ruined that coming out of the last corner, didn't he? Just got too much wheel spin. He got on that left-hand curb and out of the Anthony Nose corner. That is where his lap time went awry. Meanwhile, we've got the likes of Jovial Manatee on a lap at the moment. He's just coming into the Nouvelle chicane, really committing those drivers. Watching them, that camera angle is fantastic just to see the commitment into that left-handed turn, into the right-hander. Jovial Manatee clips the wall. He's lost a little bit of time. Let's hope for his sake he hasn't lost any front wing. Full commitment and too much commitment as he's lost his front wing. And he's not going to be improving. Down the Man is next on the road. He found a bit of time in the first sector, still finding it in the second.
Yeah, here he comes now, round the final couple of corners. He goes over Jovial Manatee's wing, hopefully no damage to the tyre on that Alfa Romeo. He has a wee bit of front lock on that car. He'll open the DRS, runs up to the line. Can he improve on P10? Down the Man. P8 for Down the Man.
P8 for Down the Man. Yeah, and that was it then, because I don't think Court Gill is on a quicker lap. No, he's just crossed the line, didn't improve. So the man from Holland who spent a lot of this session, Machine Island got another lap in.
Oh, he did?
And he's got up to second, so unseen by us. The winner in Brazil, as we said, has proved himself up onto the front row. Now, I should say to everybody who is watching that we are going to have a short interlude just coming up in a few moments' time, as we are going to have to create a new lobby. The grid will be what you see on the left-hand side. So it is going to be how we've just qualified, but we are going to be setting up a new lobby. So you're going to have to bear with us a few minutes and listen to Jack and I give you a little bit of a preview of what you can expect in this Monaco Grand Prix. Because Jack, you're a man who's driven around this track many a time. You've raced many a time in TGP1. How do you need to approach this race?
It's one of those tracks where you just can't afford a mistake. There's a lot about commitment, and you need to be committed to be as fast as these guys in the top tier of the TGP in this division. But it's one of those, if you just survive, you're probably going to make up some positions in the race. But if you want to win, you're going to have to be absolutely committed, just like Casper was in that final sector of that lap that puts him on pole by 4/10 of a second. But it's just consistency. Who can concentrate the longest tonight? Who can keep the car? Who can keep the discipline and just force someone else to make mistakes? Casper, obviously, in P1, he just needs to keep a cool head, get through turn 1, and he should be fine. Well,
we certainly hope we're going to be in for a good race. I mean, it would be fantastic. You know, Casper, who had a really good showing last time out in his first week in TGP1, you know, it'd be really good to see him sort of get a win on the board as well. It would really make this title fight very interesting, I must say, because we've got the likes of Softy, we've got the likes of Machine Island getting involved, getting good results early doors. Cam, we still need to see what he's got. Maybe we'll have 3 different race winners in the first 3 races. That is certainly what I'd like to see. I don't know about you, Jack.
Yeah, that would be great to see 3 different winners in the first 3 races. But the longer it goes for Casper without the race win, you feel like the harder it would be for him to eventually get that win on the board. It would be great, especially around Monaco, to get that win in the second week of your debut season in TGP1, and then if he does get that win, you know we're in for a great title fight. It seems to be a four-way battle, which we've not had in a very long time. It seems to always be that two-horse race in TGP1, but a four-way battle going through the whole season would be absolutely great. And if Casper can win Monaco, get that first win on the board, there's no pressure for the rest of the season to get that first win.
Well, it's a huge foot in the door, isn't it? Let's not forget. Just purely and simply, just to sort of say, well, come on, guys, take me seriously here. I'm not here just to make up the numbers. I'm here to compete just the same as the rest of you are. It might be my first season, but you can't take me. You got to take me seriously.
Absolutely, and Softy does know he's got to take Casper seriously. Casper obviously got that penalty in Australia last week, but he pushed Softy tooth and nail to the final corner of the Australian Grand Prix. He kind of wasn't too close to the front three in Brazil, but Casper's there. Casper's going to have the pace throughout this season. He is able to race with these guys like Softy and Cam. Not many drivers can do that. Not many have that natural ability. Obviously, Confessor in recent years and Matt Tibbles have managed to do it for seasons, a couple of seasons, but not consistently. Casper, consistently this season, I think he can get the job done against these guys, and it could be the lowest scoring TGP1 champion for a while, with the 4 guys with the ability to win races. And obviously there's guys like Jovi Omanity who won Monaco last season, and Jack Hickey who can get wins in this league.
And it was really interesting. I mean, I sat down and had a chat with Cam recently on our TGP Has a Podcast series, which you can listen to on YouTube or on Spotify. And actually, it was really interesting just hearing his take on how it was that he sort of found himself taking part and getting involved in the sort of championship fights, because it was something he really had to work quite hard at, and even into last season as well. He said things didn't really sort of come easily, and I'm sure for the likes of Casper, if he is lucky enough to get involved in a TGP1 title fight, I'm sure he'll realise that as well. But it's not simple. It takes a lot of ability, but also just a bit of nous to go with it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's no disrespect to other leagues, but there's not many like Softy, is it? A man like that battling you for the championship, and even going into the season before it starts, it's like, well, Softy's racing this year, what have I got to do to beat him? It's kind of like racing.
Well, the man's just incessant, isn't he?
Hard. Yeah, he's so good, and he's just so consistent. It's not even that he's so much faster than everyone, he's just so consistent. He rarely makes a mistake. Obviously, he can't do it, we've seen it before, but it's just going up against Softy is one of those things. It's kind of like a shadow over your shoulder before the beginning of the season. But Cam's proven that he's done it now. He's made the Softy lose the championship already. Can he retain his championship? It's one of the hardest things to do, in TGP, especially in TGP1. Not many people can defend that championship, and Softy's one of the few that have done it. But this year, Softy is under real threat with the 3 guys who can obviously push Softy all the way. And I think Softy may be even feeling the pressure this season as well.
Well, it would make sense. Well, would it make sense? I suppose it would. Because actually, he's up against some really tough competition, isn't he?
Yeah, this is probably the quickest TGP1's grid I've seen in a very long time, especially at that front end. Obviously, you've had the likes of Confessor, who I think won 12 races or something in one season. You've obviously had Jack Hickey, who's dominated and won multiple races over the season. These guys who you see in 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th, these guys ain't any joke. These guys are quick drivers, and if you're winning races, even as Softy, it's a job well done, and it shows your driving ability. And it's going to be one of those where Softy, obviously, he's earned the confidence, he's earned the right to be the arrogant man at the top of the TGP pedestal, but it's not invincible. We've seen him lose championships before, people can't beat him, and it looks like this season might be the one where we literally have no idea going into the next few races over the next few weeks who's going to be the champion. And it's not many times we've said that before a TGP1 season.
Well, no, it's not actually. And even last year, to a degree, I know we had Cam winning the title, but actually, let's not forget Softy missed a fair amount of races himself, and didn't have the season his own way. But there were so many more races he should have won. And let's be fair, Cam did a really good job. But that, how can I put it? That title last year should have been Softy's, really.
Yeah, there was a few. Obviously, the last week, Cam just needed to do his thing, and obviously Softy wasn't there. But when you're scoring 310 points, and you really shouldn't have won the championship, then how much respect does that take? That not many guys over the course of a season can score 310 points. And obviously, when Softy was there, Cam did the business, and when Softy wasn't there, Cam still was able to be up at the top, up the front, and obviously Softy did miss some weeks, and he was quite upset that he was missing the last week and didn't have the chance to be the champion. But that's what it takes. You need to be here every week. You need to race every week. No one is here to make it easy for you. Dom's not going to make it easy for anyone at the back. Woos is not going to make it easy for anyone at the back. These guys in the midfield aren't going to make it easy for anyone. There's a lot of pride in this league, and I know we don't have major incidents that much, but there is a lot of rivalry and tension between the guys, and everyone just wants to win. And Softy, obviously, he has this season to make up for that last season that he didn't manage to get the championship.
Well, I think there'll be plenty of people out there who are hoping that Softy can't quite manage a title success, because it will make for a very interesting season, that's for sure. However, it's almost time for a bit of Monaco. So we talked about what's so important about this track and getting it right, and just keeping your head, keeping it out of the wall earlier. But we're about to see it in the flesh. We've got it at nighttime setting. We're going to be in the pitch black. Well, I say pitch black, we're not going to have lights on. That would be an interesting race, I have to say. Maybe that's something we can try and organise for the future. But we've really got a chance where we could have a very interesting race. As you said, we've got Casper on pole, hasn't won a race yet in TGP1. We've got Softy starting from the back, and Machine Island, he's starting second. He could really see himself with an opportunity to put quite a few points in between him and Softy, you'd have thought.
Yeah, this is good for Machine Island. He's got a chance now. Obviously, the pressure's on him. Softy's just got to try to get through the field, but Machine Ireland, he'll obviously want to win the Grand Prix, but this is a race where you need to get ahead of Softy now going into France next time around. You just want to get some points on the board, a good podium, even a win if you can get the win, but this is a race that Machine Ireland really can't afford any silly mistakes.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Well then, let's see how we get on with this one. We've got a really interesting fight coming up, and I think so stick around for this one, because it could be really quite a good race. I know Monaco can sometimes not pull up the most entertaining races we've ever come across, but I would be so bold to say this one could be an exception.
I've got a feeling this is going to be a really good race. We had two really good races last week. These guys are just so similarly paced. There's a lot of different strategies last week. It's going to be interesting to see who picks what compound attire to go on for the start of this stint, but it's time to get going. I'm just ready for this Monaco Grand Prix and to see who will win this race. Hopefully it'll be free and free.
Well, here we go. We've got 5 lights under the lights in Monte Carlo, and we're underway, and it was a good getaway from the Alpine on the front row, and Machine Island has to tuck in behind, and it was Court, actually, who probably got the poorest start of all of them. And as we make that run up to the hill for the first time, we've got a Red Bull that looks a little bit out of control in the background, but they are through the first... No, they're not. Dan Morris is out of the race, but the rest of them are through the first few corners safely as we work our way then through past the casino down to Mirabeau. It's Casper who's leading the race for Machine Fishy on the medium tyres. Machine Fishy also on the medium tyres with Court Gill settling in behind. Then it's the 2 Williams. Jack Hickey there afterwards. Then we've got an AlphaTauri and the rest of the field funneling their way through. But I must say, at the moment at least, Jack, they're keeping it very, very civilised.
They did keep it very civilised, but Softy has front wing damage in P16. He's lost that front end plate behind Dom Smith. I'm not sure what happened, but Softy has lost a bit of that front wing, and what a start it was from Casper. He got such a good run off the line. That's exactly what he needed. Now he just needs to focus on keeping those guys behind him if he can, but Machine Ireland is looking racy and wants to get this victory. Courtgill did have a dodgy start, but he's managed to keep it on the podium for now. Can he keep the 2 Williams behind?
Yeah, Machine Island is all over the back of that Alpine, and I mean, if Casper's going to pick one race to sort of, try and settle himself into, you wouldn't have said it would be this one. The walls really are right on your doorstep, and one ever so slight error, as you mentioned, Jack, and it can be game over.
Yeah, it's a difficult race to get your head into. You need to be ready to go before the lights are even going out. I know you say that at every circuit, but this one especially, he obviously does have the advantage that it's very hard to overtake around here. Casper just needs to make sure he can get some good exits and good traction out of these corners going into the next part of the Grand Prix.
Well, let's give you a rundown of the order as we're halfway through the second lap. The leaders coming through the tunnel. We've got Casper leading the race, Machine Island in second, Court Gill third, Cam, our reigning TGP1 champion, is fourth, with his teammate Speed Kai in fifth. Then we've got Jack Hickey, two-time TGP1 champion, in sixth, Viva La Merco in seventh, Dan the Man eighth, Jovial Manatee ninth, and Matt Tibos rounds out the top 10. Just outside the top 10 at the moment, the Ferrari of Phil Bardwell, Johners, and then we've got Wet Lemons a couple of seconds behind him, Softcop, who has made his way past Dom Smith and Lewis Craig now, with some slight front wing damage, but the Aston Martin driver, our championship leader, the man who won round number one, the man with 6 titles to his name and the most TGP1 wins at the moment, down in 14th. Lewis Craig is 15th, Dom Smith 16th, Sheck Waste is 17th, 18th for Mr. Chiapelli, and Dan Morris, our only retiree thus far, retiring on lap number 1.
Yeah, an absolute disaster for Dan Morris retiring in lap number 1, and Machine Ireland is right on the back of that Alpine of Casper through Casino Square. Court has managed to drop out of that DRS zone, which is exactly what the front two would have been hoping for. These guys now can just control the pace of the Grand Prix and see who is going to come out on top. And that mid-pack is so close together. Johners had a really bad start. He's down 3 positions. He had a really good week last week, so hopefully he can get back up the order and show his true pace. But Machine Ireland, he's had a really good start, but that 5/10 gap, it could be like that for a while until the pit stops.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who blinks first, because the undercut not too powerful. The track position makes all the difference. But you know, if these two do keep gapping the rest of the field, then you have to say that actually it might give opportunities for pit stops to take place and undercuts to occur. Machine Island clambering the curb through the swimming pool section, but as you said, crucially, Court is now outside of DRS, and this is going to be the first lap with DRS. You can see the rear wing flap opening up there for the Red Bull driver down the main straight as Casper sets another fastest lap of the race, and Wet Lemons has found the barrier in between Swimming Pool and Laras Gas. So we have lost another car from this race, and it is the McLaren of Wet Lemons. And Viva La Merco is also out of the race. I don't know if the two of them came together. There was quite a difference between the two of them in terms of positions on the track, so I'd be very surprised.
Yeah, he's retired in the pits with some damage, maybe calling it a day early, trying to refocus and regroup going into the next round at France. But yeah, Machine Ireland, they've managed to break the DRS gap, as we said earlier, and it's just the focus. They can't, obviously that gap really didn't come down that much under DRS, so maybe Machine Ireland's going to have to find somewhere else in the circuit to make up a bit of pace, and then maybe when them pit stops do come, he might have to blink first just to maybe try and get that move done off track, because it's going to be very hard, as he had a really good exit from that chicane.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how this race does develop. Top 2 at the moment is our closest battle on track, interestingly enough. And these two, as you said, still putting gap between them and Court. So, they're setting a good pace out front. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1. I think that's for Sheck Waste, who's had an issue at the hairpin. But Machine Island then, with the DRS flap open once again, keeping within half a second of that Alpine car in front of him.
Yeah, this is what Machine Island's got to do. He's just got to keep that pressure on Casper, keep Casper thinking on his mind, making sure that he's got to keep looking in his mirrors and check his proximity arrows to see where the Red Bull driver is, as Cam is right on the back now of Court Gill. That gap is only 0.2 seconds. Machine Ireland has had a wee moment coming down the hill. He just manages to survive it. As that gap is now broken, the DRS, that's exactly what Casper needs. Yeah,
it's fantastic news for him. And as you said, Cam all over the back of the Alpine driver. And as we come back into under the tunnel, he's a little bit too far back for a lunge, you have to say, but nonetheless, you've got Cam in a good position. He had a little look, but decided against it. And meanwhile, we've had correspondence from Wet Lemons. He unsettled the curb on the swim pool chicane, and it moved the front left completely. So disappointing for the McLaren driver, who finds himself out of the race, and he'll be looking for a better result in round number 3 that we've got coming right after this one. Meanwhile, back on the streets of Monte Carlo, we have got some great battles going on the track at the moment. Matt Tibos just 0.6 of a second behind Jovial Manatee. Jonas on the edge of the point, 0.6 of a second behind Phil Bardwell. But we are focusing on the battle for third between Court Gill, Cam, and to a certain degree, Speed Kai as well. Now, could we see some tactics with the Williams?
Well, Speed Kai had a really bad start to the season last week. He's improved very much this second week of the season. It's good to see him up here where he belongs, and the Williams driver they do have a bit of an advantage now, able to play some mind games. Maybe one stops a bit earlier than the other, one can go longer. But it's one of those tracks where you kind of just need to get the moves done. There's no much time for mucking about and seeing who can do what. And Courtgill, obviously one of the midfield guys, these guys will all get ahead of him pretty quickly and try and close that 2.5-second gap to the top two.
Well, you would have thought so, wouldn't you? But, Court's putting up a stout defence at the moment. Interesting to say, he is on, as Dom Smith has retired, he is on the soft tyres as opposed to these guys on the medium. So he's probably going to be suffering a little bit from tyre degradation before too long. And so the remaining 15 runners, I think most of them are actually on the medium. So, but look how close Cam is now. He's all over the back of him. Surely he's got to make a move this time round. Oh, I thought he was going to think about it into Anthony Nose, but he just needs to get this line right. He gets on the DRS nice and early, gets on the power nice and early, but has he got the overspeed as they head towards turn number 1? We get to turn number 1, not quite close enough.
Beautiful car placement from the Alfa Romeo, showing his experience in the cockpit there, and it was a great move. As you see Jack Hickey just behind this bundle of cars downhill, 3 seconds back. He's going to try close that gap in. But yeah, them tyres, those soft tyres, they're going to be wearing. It's going to be around lap 8 or 9 that those tyres are going to be completely dead, and he needs to stop. As you see the smoke coming off those rears, locking with some tyre wears. Cam just needs to keep the pressure on Courtgill here.
And this is allowing Jack Hickey to close up a little bit as well, because he's sort of in no man's land at the moment. He's 3.5 seconds off there, so he's 3 seconds up the road from Dan. At the moment he's looking and thinking, well, 6th at best. But if Court really is struggling with these tyres, and Cam's able to make a move quickly, and perhaps if Kai can follow him through as well, then maybe Jack Hickey will be looking at Court and thinking, that's the way I can get into the top 5.
Yeah, that's definitely what Jack Hickey will be thinking of. That'll be his game plan. Just got to try and close up to these guys while they're behind Courtgill. And obviously he's going to come into the pits very, very soon. Obviously not this time around, I don't think. No, will be in the next couple of laps. Jack Hickey, he's just got to keep going. He's about 3 seconds back now. He's improved by about 4 attempts. He's just got to keep the pressure on as Cam is looking to make a move. But Court is just not too worried at the moment yet.
No, we've got Jovial Manatee and Phil Bardwell coming into the pits, but interestingly, unseen, or at least unspoken about by us at the moment, look at that gap between the top 2. Casper's done a good job, and he's put 2.5 seconds between him and Machine Island. Maybe Machine Island's tyres are wearing off, maybe there's been traffic, I don't know, but maybe he's had some damage. But at the very least, Casper doing a very solid job leading out front.
Yeah, I think Machine Island's just made that mistake, and it's maybe causing him a wee bit of doubt in the cockpit. He knows he's in for a good result tonight, regardless of where Softy finishes, because he's not going to score too many points if he makes a move on Lewis, who's obviously in the pits at the moment. Machine Island maybe just feeling a wee bit under pressure, and that mistake cost a bit. Look at Cam, he's so close to the back of Court. He's only 0.2 of a second now, coming around the 3rd sector. This could be the lap that he makes the move with DRS, as you see in that beautiful helicopter camera shot, how close Cam is. Cam, full commitment, he fills the grip in those nice heated medium tyres. He knows the Alfa Romeo ahead is struggling. He's staying out again. This is the closest the gap has ever been. It's been a little bit squirrely for Cam out the exit, the final corner, and that might just save Courtgill again, as his teammate of Speed Kai is doing the undercut.
Yeah, he's gone early. Maybe he's found a little gap that he can come back into. It's going to be around 10th, I think, after Jovial Manatee and stuff have sorted themselves out. So he's in the pits at the moment. He's going on the softs. Wow. Okay.
He had damage. That's a change of wing for Williams onto the soft tyres. They will make it, but it will be very hard to keep going. But as you've seen, Court managed to hold off everyone else on those worn softs. Can Kai do the job there? He's got a bit of a gap to Jovial Manatee, and Softy sets the fastest lap on hard tyres.
That's a bit of a statement, isn't it? But look at Cam here. He's riding on the back of Court, and I thought he was going to go for a move, but as you said, a little bit earlier on, as Cam now picks up a penalty in frustration behind that Alfa Romeo driver, but the Dutchman is positioning that car oh so well.
Yeah, he's defending like his life absolutely depends on it, and Cam is getting frustrated. There's a couple of corner cuts in a row, picking up that 3-second time penalty, as Court now finally releases the Williams driver, and Cam will be absolutely thankful. But that is the mistake Casper made in Australia, and it cost him the race win. Could that cost New Zealand Cam a chance at a podium? Jack Hickey is a second back, but there's plenty of time left in this race for Cam to lose out on that podium.
Machine Island is really struggling. He must have some kind of damage, because even despite all of that, Cam, we'll see what his pace is now in clear air, but He's only 3.1 seconds behind, and he was being held up so much by Court. I refuse to believe that is just from Cam doing a good job while in traffic. That can't be the case. He must have some damage.
He must have something. He's just lost 7/10 of a second through that part of Sector 2. Maybe the Red Bull not showing the signs of life, and he almost clips the wall again, Machine Ireland there. That was almost his race completely over. Maybe something wrong in the Red Bull there, not performing to the best of his abilities, and he has dropped off massively. It's 5 seconds now Casper leads the Grand Prix by.
Yeah, Cam has gained a second on this lap. Look at it, he's visibly struggling as well. You saw the sort of sideways action there as well. We could have, and Cam's pitted. He doesn't want to stare at the back of a Red Bull rear wing, and I think that's a great idea from Cam. Hickey's in the pits as well. Dan the Man's in the pits. A flurry of activity in the pit stops.
Yeah, Matt Tibos is the first to stay out. Jack Hickey onto the hard tyres on that McLaren. The other two on softs. New Zealand Cam went early last time, and he lost out as Court Gill flies past them on the medium compound tyres, and this is just pounding bad to worse for New Zealand Cam. He finally manages to break free, and he's still miles behind Machine Ireland. That gap's kind of stayed around 5 seconds now, but he needs to get in and put some downforce on that car because he is absolutely struggling at the moment. If he's not going to change his wing, he needs to put some more downforce on that car in the pit stops.
Yeah, and you can see how much that change of wing really hurt Kai as well. You know, he's now 4.5 seconds off the battle, what is effectively the battle for third place between Cam and Court. But you're quite right. I mean, you know, Machine Island's leaving himself in danger here. I mean, if he does need to change his front wing, he is going to most certainly come out behind these two, maybe Kai as well. But, you know, if he is struggling that much, he needs to get in sooner rather than later. And they both have. Look at that. Casper and Machine Island into the pits. I can see they're changing tyres on Machine Island. No change of their front wing. That maybe tells you something. But look at this. The Haas of Matt Tibos, who hasn't pitted yet, he's missing some front wing. Dives into the pits now, but he's just held up Court and Cam massively. And Cam is right on the back of Court Gill. Court's going to have DRS on the main straight as well. But as we head towards the first corner, there's Machine Island. And they've both jumped him.
Oh, it's a disaster, and look how close Cam is up the hill now. Can he get the move done? This is going to be the best opportunity. He can't get the move done on the DRS straight because he had DRS, but look at Court. He's absolutely saving and harvesting that battery, and Cam can't get the move done. Court Gill, he's going to dive late, and they crash on Cam. Cam's got damage, and he's going to have to stop again, and that is where the discipline and pressure of Softy being down there and the chance to gain points is going to catch these guys out. And Machine Ireland now is going to get back on that podium as Cam's definitely going to have to stop.
Yeah, he's got to stop. He's got too much damage. It's such a shame. Yeah, they were running nose to tail for so long, and Cam, maybe a little bit of impatience. I think he had every right to go for the move, but I think Court was always going to block it off. I mean, into Mirabeau. It's a risky place to try and make an overtake. And you'd like to expect for a reigning TGP1 champion that he had known to have bided his time a little bit, but he hasn't done. And now Machine Island's looking for the move into La Rascas. He clips the wall himself, and Cam decides, you know what, sod this, I'm going to stay out.
Yeah, you're not making a move there on a former TGP1 champion. It's not going to happen, but Court now looks to be sailing off into the sunset, and someone who is absolutely sailing off right now around the harbour of Monte Carlo is Casper. 6 seconds the gap now. This has done absolutely what he needed to do as he sets a purple Sector 1. And well, we said at the start, this is going to be pressure. Can he get that first win out the way? And at the moment, it looks like he is getting the job done as Machine Ireland has passed New Zealand Cam at the end of Sector 1.
Yeah, Machine Island's just shown Cam what he should have done a lap ago, and really committing to that braking zone, really late on the brakes. Had the rears locked up, had it all locked up, but he got it stopped and got the move done, and that was a very good illustrative way of showing what Cam should have done the lap before. Well, Lemons has just made a really good point. How many DRFs have we had so far this race? I haven't even seen them stacking up, but we've only got 13 cars left.
Yeah, Monaco's one that takes out a few drivers during the Grand Prix, and look at this battle. Kai has absolutely dropped because of that rear wing change. Look at how close Dan the Man is to Jack Hickey. He is ready to make a move. He's going to get the DRS. Obviously, Jack Hickey's going to get the DRS on Kai, so it might be very hard for Dan the Man to make a move. He'll get the double slipstream, but at the moment it looks like Jack Hickey might be making a move on Speed Kai. He's going to go down the inside of turn number 1. He cuts the corner. He might, and Dan Le Mans is going to take the opportunity to blast past Speed Kai, and he's got the move done, and Jack Hickey might actually need to give that position up. It was very close to crossing the white line.
I think he was just okay. From the angle, I went on board with him, and just when I cut into it, I think he was just okay. But Jack Hickey then moves his way up into 5th place, which is where he said his aim's going to be. Interestingly, Dan the Man, I mean, the difference in strategy here is huge. I mean, Jack Hickey's on the hard tyres, Dan the Man's on the softs, Kai's on the softs, struggling. The other Williams just up the road has got major front wing damage, and these two, Jack Hickey and Dan the Man, if they work together here, they could be in a battle for 4th.
Yeah, they absolutely could. Calm is going to be struggling, but there is a big gap. That's what Calm's got. Calm just needs to keep some consistent pace towards the end of the Grand Prix and try manage that gap. The gap is going to come down, of course. He's just got to try and hold on. And look at the extra speed Casper has. That gap is now 9 seconds at the moment at the front. But Dan Le Mans, he's on the back of Jack Hickey. He's going to open up the rear wing. But yet again, as we've said so many times in this Grand Prix, the gap is just a wee bit too big. The exit on that final corner when you're behind a car is just absolutely tragic. There is no downforce there.
And look at the battle for second as well. And Machine Island sends it to the inside. There's contact, and I think I saw some front wing fly off there as well. I'm presuming that was from Machine Island. But as they headed down into Mirabeau, Machine Island, with the practice move on Cam a few laps earlier, decided to send one on court, and unfortunately contact was made.
Yeah, I think he's alright. I think he doesn't have any damage at the moment. It looks okay. But what a disaster that corner has been for so many drivers in this Grand Prix. Machine Ireland is doing everything he can. He's got no battery compared to the Alfa Romeo ahead of him. And those soft tyres, he needs to get the move done now, because those soft tyres are going to go off and Court's going to sail into the sunset if he can't get the move done soon. But look how close he is. He's 2.5 tenths down. Now what can he do coming back on to the start-finish straight? With the DRS, he'll get an extra 12 kilometres an hour down the main straight. The only real overtaking opportunity that should be a slam dunk. He's going to look down the inside. He brakes really well.
No! And that is whole front wing gone. And the man, he needed to think of the title. He needed to think of where Softy is in this race. He's down in 9th. He's going to be scoring barely any points. And now, Machine Island with 5 laps to go. And he's got a whole lap to complete before he can change that front wing. And he's thrown it all away.
Yeah, he needs to stay out the way now as well. He needs to move out the way of these guys who are battling for positions at the moment. I know it's unfortunate, but you just got to try and move out the way, let these guys go through. But what a disaster. This is what we talked about before the Grand Prix. I know you want to win, but Softy's in 9th. Think of the points you're going to gain tonight on Softy. I know it's 5 points. Softy's only going to get 5 points. You need to take advantage. I know Cam in 15th, he'll be disappointed in not winning the race. In 3rd, sorry, Cam, you'll get 15 points. But 15 points is a 10-point advantage as Jack Hickey doesn't make the move there on Machine Ireland, which is probably the wise thing to do. Just let him come into the pits. And Dan Le Mans, I tell you what, when we start the next lap, he's going to be the right on the back of Jack Hickey.
Yeah, and they say, you know, anything can happen in TGP1, and it usually does, and we are being shown that tonight. As look at this, Jack Hickey, Dan the Man, and Speed Kai. Yeah, how many times have these three been sort of line astern together? And look at this, actually. I tell you what, Jack. Softy is just at the back of this queue, and he's all over the back of Jovial Manatee. There's every chance that this man here, on screen now, who started in last place, 19th place, could end up somehow finishing 4th. But he's got a few cars in between him, I will admit, but he's certainly got the ability that should be possible.
Yeah, but that's another Machine Ireland mistake there. He held up those guys for over half a lap. He's allowed these guys to fall within the clutches of Softy. Softy now in P8, he could get these moves done. If there's anyone that's going to get the moves done, it is him. And is it a mistake that the Red Bull driver didn't need to make? He didn't need to hold those guys up for that whole part of that lap. He just didn't need to do it, and that's a mistake that could be crucial further into the season. It is something we could maybe look back on.
He didn't need to make that lunge. I mean, yes, it was on. Don't get me wrong, and as you correctly said, you know, it's one of the better overtaking opportunities. But he just didn't need to do it. He just didn't need to do it. And it's like you said earlier, you know, you just you have to think about the championship. You have to think about everything else that's going on in the race, rather than just the carrot that's being dangled in front of your head. I mean, the only man I can safely say in this race that so far, touch wood, hasn't put a foot wrong is Casper, and he's got a best part of a 14-second lead, and he's cruising, and that's because he has just kept his head down and got on with it.
And Jack Hickey is now past New Zealand Calm. Calm's fallen into the clutches of these guys. He's going to drop a few positions, and that time penalty is probably going to cost him that position to the guys behind as well. So Softy's going to get a free position off that time penalty that Calm got making a mistake. And if you're starting in P3 and someone's starting P19, you manage to fall behind, that's an absolute disaster, as Johners has had that accident in the hairpin.
I think the main accident with Johners is the fact that he's here, but we'll focus on that another time. Dan the Man, meanwhile, is right on the back now of Cam, who's dropped off. Look how much he's struggling, and Dan the Man just sails on by into La Rascasse, and fourth place is the Alfa Romeos. It's going to be a great haul of points for Alfa Romeo tonight. We haven't really touched on that, but the Williamses have been imitating Renault from 2005 and just been going backwards.
Yeah, they've not had a great race. It looked so good at the start of the Grand Prix, and it's just kind of dropped off from there. Kind of mistakes from the guys, making overtakes. They're not focusing during the lap. But Speed Kai, I know he's dropped a couple of places from the beginning, opening lap, but he'll be very happy with P6 after that opening weekend. As Machine Ireland.
Oh! My goodness me, I don't know if you saw that, but I had a great view from Jovial Manatee, effectively just giving Softy an open invitation to take 7th place. And that's exactly what he's done. And now he is right on the back of Kai, and you have to say he's probably going to get past him in a couple of corners' time. And then he's going to be right on the back of Cam and in 5th place.
Yeah,
with that penalty for Cam as well.
Softy's got a great opportunity to score decent points here. This is where the champion. It sounds stupid, I know it's only race 3, but these are the races where the championship is won and lost. You can't make these mistakes this early on in the season, especially against that man. Look at the speed he's got on worn hard tyres against the soft of Speed Kai. Surely he makes the move into turn 1 on the final lap here. Well,
Kai's struggling so much, isn't he? I mean, as you said, Softy on these worn hards, the wily old fox that he is. As you said, he doesn't become a 6-time champion for nothing. And on the start-finish straight, Kai covers the inside line, and he moves across a little bit, and Softy's going to have to go the long way round. And my goodness me, that was very nearly one of the finest moves I've ever seen in TGP1. But Kai is maybe doing his teammate a favour now, perhaps trying to hold up Softy, give him that 3-second gap so that Cam can still take that 5th place, and they almost make contact. But Softy has now found his way past, but Kai's still sticking his nose up the inside. They're almost rubbing wheels as they head through Mirabeau, but Softy does get the move done, and he's up into 6th place on the road. But that was very, very sketchy.
Oh, he tried everything to stop that Aston Martin moving up into P6, and he just couldn't hold on with those worn, soft tyres.
And look at this. We've got Casper slowly weaving across the line. We've barely spoken about him the second half of the race. We completely missed his last couple of corners. But the Finnish driver drove a faultless race to take his first win in TGP1. What a showing from the Alpine driver. And Court Gill, take a bow. The Alfa Romeo driver comes home in 2nd place. And Jack Hickey, former two-time TGP1 champion before this race, he said to me that he has no chance and he's down in the doldrums. And look at him now, 3rd place, great result for him. Dan the Man comes home in 5th, and look at that, Softy is going to claim 5th place in Monaco, having started in 19th. Yes, you heard that right, Monaco 19th to 5th.
Oh, it's absolutely great from Softy. Calm's had a disaster. He picked up another 3-second time penalty. He's dropped to 8th. Machine Ireland's in 10th. These are just mistakes you can't afford. I know it's early days, and I know we harp on about how good Softy is, but when you have an opportunity like that, you've just got to take it. Casper's done that. He's gained so many points on Softy, 15 points. It's a big jump to make for Casper, and we said before the race, you want to get your first win out the way, don't you? You don't want that pressure to build up to the point where it's like, oh my god, when am I going to win a race, guys? He gets the win early in the season at probably the hardest place to win. And well, Casper, he can enjoy it, but he's got to get his head down and get back on it for France to take another win if he can, and even because he should be leading the championship now if my maths is correct. I think he will be leading it now going into the 4th round. He's just got to try and get the job done again in France.
Well, I loved that. that was great fun. And, kudos to everyone who was racing there, because they really put on a good showing. And I'm sure some drivers will be very disappointed with how their races ended up. But I, for one, can say that's one of the better Monaco Grand Prix I have seen in TGP1 for a long, long time. And I'm glad you were all here to watch it with us and end up with 3 drivers on the podium that will be very, very pleased. So let's give you a rundown of the order then. So ERT Casper takes his first race win in TGP1. Pole position, not quite fastest lap, but he did he lead every lap? I think he did lead every lap. So very good showing from the Alpine driver. Caught an impressive second place. Jack Hickey, an impressive third place. Dan the Man was fourth with Softy, 19th to 5th. I'll say that once again. That is absolutely stupendous. 5th place for the Aston Martin driver. 6th place for Speed Kai. Jovial Manatee was 7th. Cam will be devastated with 8th. Phil Bargewell 9th. And someone who's also devastated is Machine Island to finish 10th. He did get the fastest lap, which does give him an extra point. But how many did he throw away with that mistake earlier on? Matt Tibos was 11th, Lewis Craig was 12th, 13th went to Jonas, 14th Mr. Chiapelli. All these drivers are retirees. Sheck Waits 15th, Dom Smith 16th, Viva Lamerco 17th, Wet Lemons 18th, and Dan Morris, who unfortunately for him didn't make it past turn 1.
Yeah, not good for those guys retiring, but Casper now, that championship gap that looked big before tonight, that's only 5 points now. That's what those kind of wins and no mistakes means when someone has a bad Grand Prix.
But it's huge. Yeah, it's a huge showing. And just what that does for your confidence as well, more than anything. Let's not forget, he's not... I appreciate that TGP1 isn't the first league he's ever taken part in. But, it's his debut season here. And when you're up against drivers like Softy, as you well said earlier on, you know the sort of levels that they're going to bring. And that just shows, from the fact that he's just come from last to 5th. But for you to have that sort of race where you can control it, you take pole, you win the race, and you keep yourself in check when everyone else is faltering around you, you're very right in what you said, Jack. Those sorts of races can win or lose you a championship, but they can also very easily give you a momentum swing to put you in contention.
Yeah, definitely. He now knows he can win in this league, and whether or not he can win again in the league is another question that might need to be answered, but he can do the job. Whether Softy was starting last or not, he knows he can get the job done, and he's just got to keep going and keep nailing at that gap between him and Softy. And guys make mistakes, it's just going to cost you. This isn't a gimmick league, this isn't a Division 2 league, this isn't mistakes. You can make mistakes in TGP2, yourself, and still be able to do some damage in the championship. You can't make mistakes in TGP1 because there's too many guys that are going to do too well every week. You've got to get the job done, and Casper's done that. He's done that both weeks. Obviously finished 2nd and 4th, I believe, last week, and obviously the win now. He's basically gone out there at Monaco and he's told Softy, well, what can you do? Because I can do this. I'm here to win this league. I'm not here just to see you win the 7th championship.
Well, that's just it. He's thrown his hat in the ring, hasn't he, with that? And yes, his hat might not be the one that ends up getting chosen, and it certainly might not be the biggest hat in the ring, but before this, he was just sort of, as you quite rightly said, he was someone that you thought, well, he might be able to mix it in with it, he might be able to do a job. But now, he's a bona fide race winner, and he controlled a race, and you look at him and you think, this guy's got a chance.
Absolutely. He's solidified himself as one of the top drivers in the league this season. Now, you get the win, you're instantly in the hunt now. 5 points behind Softy. Obviously, Softy has won Grand Prix in the past at France, but the gap's close now. You can win the championship being 5 points behind a driver. Obviously, you just need to win, and the guy can't do anything about it. But Casper now, he needs to keep his head down. It's very easy to lose yourself when you do get that win, but there's another race to go. 19 laps around France, the Paul Ricard circuit. It's a very hard, demanding track. It's probably one of the easier ones to drive, but it's another one where you just can't afford any mistakes. And I think we'll see a bit more overtakes this time around.
I think we will. Yeah, I mean, actually, despite how it's performed in real life, this circuit has always thrown up very good races when we've raced on it in the past. So, I think we're going to be in for another really, really good race coming up here. So do stick around. We've got one-shot qualifying coming up next. And that always throws up a surprise or two. You've got one chance, and are these drivers going to take their opportunities? We're going to find out very, very shortly. So do stay with us, as we really are hoping we're going to have a good race to follow on what we saw. Well, just a few miles down the road, geographically speaking, down in Monaco.
Yeah, not too far for the teams to travel. Probably would have been good to keep it on the track for that kind of intents and purposes. It's not too far, just a quick wee plane up or buses, depending on the team's financial situations. Haas might be pulling it up the road to get to the circuit of Paul Ricard. But yeah, it's one shot quality. It's you make a mistake and you're where Softy was last time around. Obviously, Softy will be happy with fifth, but he won't be planning doing that again this week.
Well, very much so. So the drivers now just going through setups, making sure they've got everything set up for their one go around this Paul Ricard circuit. It could very well be the last time we have a 2GP1 race here, so let's hope that it ends on a high note. But we shall but see. Let's see what happens in life. But so we spoke about obviously Monaco. A certain approach you've got to take to that. What sort of approach do you have to have with a race like this here, Jack?
France is one of those tracks. It's fast. It's flowing. You've got to be fully committed. There's no walls to hit here. It's just runoff areas. This is one of those tracks. You just got to have full commitment. Trust the downforce in the car because you're not going to have much of it on the straight line speed. As we get going now, probably go on board with the man that won the last race, Casper. His run up into turn number one looks pretty good. A wee bit wide, but that's what you want to get that downforce and keep it on the circuit. He's obviously only managing P5 at the moment. Matt Tibos currently leading the way. He'll be absolutely delighted with that. Casper round the final couple of corners in the first sector. Pretty much the slowest part of the track, believe it or not, before he gets onto the big runway-like straight where he's going to get the DRS before the hairpin. He'll open it up on that beautiful Alpine in the sunshine. We're not here under the lights, we're here under the sun. Some heat in those tyres going to be provided obviously by the track temperature. Swing it to the left, back across the right, use the curb on the exit as much as you dare without spinning out. There's no DRS on this straight, too dangerous going into the next corner, which is a swooping double right-hander. Eventually, one of the places where many people have had an accident. Not me though, I've never had a crash there in my TGP career. Round the big horseshoe like now in sector 3. Very quick lap, you're kind of on the throttle a lot of the percentage of the lap. The lap has got so much speed in it, obviously no more dodgy pit lane. That got removed on the right hand side there as we come round at the final couple of corners now. Use as much curb on that exit if you can. Don't go over the white line and run up to the line now. It's not going to be pole for Casper, but it is going to be P5 as Softy takes pole position. And Matt Tibbles will be very happy with P4.
That was a fantastic effort from the Haas. He might have had to push it here, but I tell you what, he's done a grand job putting it on the second row. And we saw the position changing a lot there, but what was really interesting to see is it wasn't really until that sort of slow part of the lap, the first sort of sector, Softy was sort of mixing it in there, but then he had his chance to come out. And what was really quite interesting as well, at the end of the last corner, on the exit of the last corner, he was third. He was first going into it, but he got that drive out of the corner to push himself into pole position. And look at that, we had one shot qualifying, and the top 12 separated by less than a second. I mean, kudos to all of them. That is some really, really skilled driving.
Yeah, that's absolutely great. It's just what you want to see. The guys showing that the pace is so good between all the drivers, and one shot qualifying, it just brings it closer. There's not much time to make up a gap. There's not much time to get the lap right. It's just the lap you can do. And I've actually found that final corner, you can make a lot of time up at that final corner, even in Grand Prix. Just it seems to be if you can get that final corner right, the drive of it is just so rewarding.
Well, let's see how it goes for the race. We've got a sort of overcast race. It doesn't look like it's rained. We'll see if that if those clouds do burst, but at the moment at least it looks like we're going to have a dry race, even if it's a little bit chillier than what we've just qualified in. The Alpine might not look as good, but I'm sure it will still look very good. But we've got a good grid, and we've got two drivers in Cam and Machine Island who are in second and third, if my memory serves me right, who are going to be wanting to make up for, I'm going to be honest, a dismal showing in the last race, really and truly. I mean, they let that slip. So let's see what sort of mood the two of them are in. And I really hope that they have sorted their acts out. But who knows? We're going to have some racing laps in front of us very shortly, because we've got 3, 4 and 5 lights on the gantry above us in Paul Ricard, and we are underway for this race. And it was a really good getaway from the Aston Martin. Cam's not going to have a chance into turn 1. He's going to have to be turning his attention to Machine Island, who's already up the inside and already into second place, and it's a disaster for the Williams driver, who now has Casper as well making his way past. It's a disaster for Cam, but look at that. Casper got a little bit squirrely on the exits. We've got a McLaren off in the background, that little to be wet lemons, but Casper has sorted himself out and got third place tied up, and Matt Tibos is looking a little bit racy, but he's dropped a place. Jack Hickey into 6th place. As further down, we've got an incident involving Speed Kai, who's ended up off the track. He's down in 10th place.
Yeah, New Zealand Cam had a slow getaway, but that's because he's on the hard club of the tyres. He's under attack from the Haasman, who's got the softs. It's going to be a safety car. I believe it is. Mr. Giapelli's retired, and oh yeah, on the board it's a safety car. Cam, he's going to have to do another rolling start on those hard compounded tyres, and that's not what he needed. He might drop a few places now.
From what I just saw there, it looked like Mr. Chiavelli just lost it coming onto the main straight. Hit the wall on the right hand side, and that is game over for the Mercedes driver. So let's have a quick look at what sort of tyres we've got going on at the moment. So we've got the top 3 all on mediums. Cam on the hard tyres, maybe suggesting his poor getaway. Matt Tibble's going the complete opposite. He's on the softs. And then we got mediums from Jack Hickey in 6th, all the way down to Jonas in 15th. Dom Smith on the hard tyres, Dan Morris and Wet Lemons then on the softs further back. I wonder if any of those soft shod runners might take this safety car opportunity to come into a pit. But I have to say, that's a long stint on one set of hards for the rest of the race.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Oh, we got it. Cam's pitted.
Yeah.
So he's getting rid of the hard tyres. Maybe that was tactical. Expecting an early safety car, get rid of the hards and go on to the mediums to the end of the race. I mean, that's bold.
There's not much tyre wear around France. 16 laps, though, that's a big ask. And he's on the softs. So Cam's going to stop again in this Grand Prix. And
wow.
I'm not sure that was worth it for Cam.
Well, maybe he... I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know what to comment for that. That's not what I expected. Well, he's going to try something different. Let's see if it works. We don't mind a bit of different, do we?
Well, I think the Ferrari of last season, the strategist has followed him. 'Cause that's an interesting one.
Well, I suppose, what's he going to lose? So we've got the safety car. He's going to close up to everybody else. I mean, yes, he's in 17th, but he's going to be on fresh softs. Can he get... I mean, you could overtake around France, so he's going to be able to make up a few places, you'd think. So... And then he can come in and put the mediums on, I suppose, towards the end. It's not entirely stupid. I mean, I wouldn't have said it was sensible, but I don't think it's completely stupid.
I don't like the fact that when you're hunting for a championship, race wins... No disrespect to the guys at the back, but when you're someone of New Zealand Cam's stature, you don't want to be stuck behind... There's a big list between him and those front 3 now. You don't want to be stuck behind all of them and letting those guys get away, because it's an interesting one. I'd love to be proved wrong, but we'll see after 19 laps who's right. Hopefully it is the Williams. Hopefully he can't get back up, and he's got a lot of work to do, let's just say that.
Has he ever? Well, let's hope he's got his overtaking boots on. Anyway, so we're under safety car conditions. Let's give you a quick rundown then of the order. After as we come around to complete the second lap, we've got Softcop, who started from pole in the lead. Machine Island started from 3rd, now 2nd. Casper started in 4th, now 3rd. I nearly forgot that then. No, he started 5th actually, so he made a couple of places. Something's just happened to Matt Tibos. Oh, no, Kai's pitted. Jack Hickey's now in 5th after Kai's pit stop. Viva Lamerco in 6th. Dan the Man is 7th. Jovial Manatee 8th. Phil Bartrow 9th. Shaq Waste is rounding out the top 10. And then outside of top 10 at the moment, we've got Lewis Craig, Jonas, Dom Smith, Dan Morris, Wet Lemons, New Zealand Cam, Court Gill, and Speed Kai. Right. Well, we have got another We've got another 17 laps of this, including this one, so don't go anywhere. It's a little bit... We're in a little bit of a lull at the moment with the safety car period, but that will come in soon. Obviously, safety car not on in every single race in TGP1, hence why we didn't have a safety car for the multiple retirements in Monaco. And we've had one very early on in this race, so we could still get one or two more throughout the course of this race. Although it must be said, TGP1 isn't known for having a lot of safety cars even when they're turned on, so don't put too many bets on that. Probably just focus on Cheltenham if you're thinking of betting. On that one, I'd say. But Jack, we'll probably have a safety car coming in this lap. What do you think? Machine Island or Casper have a chance of getting ahead of Softy at the restart, or is still the six-time champion in the best place to be leading at the end of lap number 3?
I would absolutely not want to be leading the safety car pack, not with those two straights that we're currently on the second one of. Obviously, no DRS, but you don't. The slipstream, even if you do have a bad getaway, as the safety car is now coming in, even if you do get a bad getaway from Machine Island or Casper, he's going to be under the cosh, Softy, come the next time we get to this part of the circuit. And I do believe Softy will get away good and he'll keep the position. But that second straight, I'm not looking forward to that if I'm Softy.
Well, I mean, batteries are going to be full charge for everybody, so that's going to be less of a concern, but it's it's when you deploy it, isn't it, at the end of the day? And Softy hasn't backed up too much. We can still see the safety car in the distance there, so he hasn't really slowed this pace down too much. He's keeping quite a quick pace, it must be said.
Yeah, he just wants to go. He doesn't want to wait anymore. He doesn't want to let them tyres cool down and be vulnerable.
He's gone.
Him gone now. So he's given Machine Ireland a chance to maybe get within a very touching distance at turn number 1. It looks good from Softy so far, but the gap is stabilised at around about 4.5 tenths of a second. Machine Ireland now, he's in prime position to make a move down the back straight if he can get a clean sector 1. It looks good so far as he rides that curb on the right hand side, which is what you want to do to pick up much speed as possible. But Casper, he's 4 times back as well. He's going to want a slice of this action, and Viva La Marco is looking very racy behind Jack Hickey.
He certainly is, yeah. Look at all these this pack go, and as you quite rightly said, Viva La Marco in the Alpha Tauri, looking pretty racy as we get onto the first of the main straights. DRS is going to be open in 2 laps' time, as we've got a bit of a break-off at the moment. The top 12 have sort of left 13th down for dust, and in that group further down you've got the likes of Dan Myris, who's putting a move on Dom Smith, and Cam as well, who's looking on doing 2 at 1, and as we head down to the chicane, he has done 2 at once, and the man in the Williams who pitted at the end of lap 1 with the safety car to put the soft tyres on has gone up to 13th already.
Yeah, that's exactly what he needed. He needed to get the moves down quick and fast. He's now got 2 seconds to Johners in the Red Bull ahead. He needs to catch up as fast as he possibly can and get past kind of the midfield part of the grid. But look at Machine Ireland, he's right on the back of Softy coming through the final sector. He's now coming at the final couple of corners, and he's had a really bad run. And look at Casper now, he's pushing the gearbox of that Red Bull through the penultimate, and then the final corner he's going to open up his ERS battery deployment. He's going to have no DRS, and Matt Tibbles on the soft tyres is going to be looking very punchy as well. And Softy, he'll just be wanting these guys to have a nice wee battle behind.
Yeah, Matt Tibos is flying as well. He should put the fastest lap of the race in, the Haas driver, to doing his bit as well. But yeah, look at these 4 breaking away from Jack Hickey at the moment, it must be said, who's got Viva La Marco for company. But we'll have DRS next lap, so Softy has still got another lap that he's got to put up with these 3 drivers all breathing down his neck, and it's going to be, his neck's going to be getting pretty damp with all the breath on the back of it. It must be said at the moment, as Machine Island runs a little bit wide there just before the main straight, and that's not going to put him in pretty good stead for this run down to the chicane.
Absolutely not. He could be in danger from Casper very shortly if he's making mistakes like that. Courtgill's gotten past Dan Morris further back, and it's a wee bit of a squirrely moment from Casper, not exactly what he needed to get a good run off, and the gap seemed to have stabilised around 5 tenths for now. Sheck Wace is under pressure from Lewis Craig. That gap is coming down very quickly. Lewis Craig using a wee bit of the battery to try and make a move down the inside of that right hand sweeping corner. Sheck Wace is going to hold on to his position for now.
Yeah, just about. The Haas driver looking racy. One Haas fighting on the edge of the top 10. The other Haas fighting on the edge of the top 3. And it's a good showing from the team from America so far. So they picked up a good No, they didn't pick up any very good points at all, actually, in Monaco. Forget what I just said. Meanwhile, the battle for the front is still holding up. Look at all these drivers. Jack Hickey is doing a good job at sort of tempering everyone else behind, so we get a four-way fight as DRS is now enabled. And look how close they all are as we head into turn number 1.
This is Australia all over again. It's going to be a fight till the end of this Grand Prix, and Matt Tibbles is doing what he can to hold on to the back of this pack while his soft tyres survive. Softy has a bit more battery in the tank over the guys behind, but it's not going to matter. That extra speed that DRS flap open provides is just not going to be enough to hold these guys back for the whole length of the race. It might be safe this time around because he's so far back, but Casper is actually going to be the one that's looking to make a move. It's 2.5 seconds to go now. It's closing and closing, but it's not closing fast enough, and Machine Ireland holds on for now.
As we've got a spinner right at the back, that's Wet Lemons, who unfortunately for him has dropped off. As unfortunately for Lewis Craig, he was battling for 10th just a few corners ago, a lap or so ago, and now has dropped outside to 13th as we've got Cam putting pressure on Jean, and Cam has not made the sort of ground up that perhaps he'd have been expecting to have made. So he's in 12th place at the moment, the Williams driver, and he's got Johners going very defensive into that horseshoe corner, we're going to call it now. And yeah, he's just... Oh, and he's had a spin, and he's collected Lewis Craig with him. And it's disastrous for the Williams driver and the Haas. And, well, Cam's evening's going from bad to, well, catastrophic.
Well, that's the kind of things we said. You go down the order. Obviously, it was a mistake from Kai. He's now behind his teammate. And he's got Dom Smith behind as well. He's going to try and make a move. He's going to look to make a move on his teammate. Will New Zealand Cam, but he's just not going to have quite the speed. It's going to be a three-way into turn number 1, and Cam does get past the Alpine of Dan Morris, but won't get past his teammate. And another mistake that he can't afford in the championship battle. And Lewis Craig, he was just a sitting duck. There wasn't really much he could do, could he?
No, he can go anywhere, and he's had to come into the pits, unfortunately for him, the Haas driver, as this battle then continues. We've got Williams on Williams action now, as Kai leads his teammate Cam. Cam and Kai have made pit stops, so this is, well, it is for position, but I mean, they're both going to need to pit again, aren't they? As Dom Smith now looking all over the back of Dan Morris as Cam pulls out of the slipstream of his teammate, moves up the inside and moves back up into 13th place as Dom Smith. Oh, he backed out of that one actually, and slots in behind the Alpine of Dan Morris. Meanwhile, the other Alpine is being treated to a very good sight in front of him, and that is Machine Island, 0.2 of a second off the back of Softy.
Yeah, this could be the lap where Machine Ireland gets the job done. He's a lot closer this tour of Paul Ricard, but Casper, he's keeping these guys honest. He's very close to the back of them. What can he do as Matt Tibbles calls it a day on those soft tyres? And what a run Casper's got off the final corner here. He's not using the battery, but he's using the DRS. Will he be able to make a move in the slipstream of the Aston Martin ahead? Just provides enough safety for Machine Ireland at the moment, but when the straight is a bit longer, when the DRS is open a bit longer, will he, Casper, be able to make the move? It looks so close, this battle for the front three, just like it was in Australia where we were treated to one of the best battles I've ever seen. Will Casper, who's so close now, be able to make that move? He's got so much more battery available in the back of that beautiful Alpine in the sunshine here in France. He'll open up the DRS. There's not going to be a short enough straight for Machine Ireland to hold on this time. Down the inside he goes. He might even get down the inside of Softy here as he looks to make the move, but he gets down the inside of the Red Bull, and it's baby steps. And now Softy is going to have to check his rear wing mirrors to see what Casper can do now.
Yeah, it might be controversial for me today, but I actually think Casper looks the more racy of Machine Island than him. He's taking that confidence in the Monaco race win, and I think he could be putting Softy under some serious pressure in a minute. And we've got to remember, we're sort of getting to... I thought Casper was about to someone to the inside then. We're sort of getting towards the pit stop window as well, let's not forget. So, you know, we could see some runners and riders ducking and diving into the pits before we know it.
I think we're going to have another 4 to 5 laps immediately. I think those softs, you want the best softs you can get, don't you? As you see Jack Hickey proves you right and is into the pits now. The McLaren driver who was under a bit of pressure from Viva La Marco as the Ferrari of Phil Bardwell in as well. But
oh, here goes Casper for the lead of the race. Sorry to interrupt, and he's taken the lead of the race. He had to go the long way around. Softy made it difficult for him. He was moving on the main straight. Nothing wrong with that. He was every entitled to. But Casper, the winner from Monaco, takes the lead.
What a move from Casper round the outside, gets the move done, and we said earlier that he looked the more racy between him and Machine Ireland. Softy had absolutely no answer for the Alpine man at the moment, and Softy has dropped to 4 attempts back. Can Softy now repay the favour and get the move done? It doesn't look like he's going to be quite close enough.
He's going to try though. He's going down the inside. Late on the brakes. Casper even later on the brakes. And he keeps his nose there. But Softy is put off of line. And Machine Island now has a chance at getting second place. But he can't quite do it. And Softy now once again turns his attention to Casper in front. He uses a bit of his battery. But so does Casper. And for the moment at least, they stay as they were. And as they head in towards the horseshoe corner, Softy's on the inside. He's got the line. And he might have the lead of the race back. But they bang wheels. And Casper runs a little bit wide. And here comes Machine Island, they're 3 wide, and Machine Island sends it to the outside of Softy. There's 3 of them so close together, and Softy gets a little bit excited on the throttle pedal and drops to 3rd. And pits.
An absolute disaster from Softy. He thought he was going to get the move done, and the front 3 all box at the same time. It's down to the pit crews now, but Viva La Marco, who is under pressure from Dan the Man, what will that entice? Obviously, this is for the lead of the Grand Prix at the moment. Currently, I think it's P5 before the pit stops, and Dan the Man not quite close enough this time around. But the pit stops could cause up a bit of a fuss to see who comes out ahead of everyone.
Well, let's see. So they're leaving the pits as they came into the pits, which I suppose is good for this. Sorry, is that Matt Tibos? Matt Tibos is in the net lead of the race.
Matt Tibos is in the lead of the French Grand Prix on medium tyres that are only 2 laps older. Matt Tibos, the undercut at Haas, has really worked.
Well, these 3 were all deciding to battle each other. Matt Tibos has snuck into the pits, fitted the medium tyres, and is the net leader of the race. Completely missed by all of us. Well, that's incredible.
Yeah, he did pit, I think it was lap 8. He did go into the pits. We've seen him go in. He's under pressure from Casper on fresh softs already, and it looks like that lead of the Grand Prix isn't going to last very long. But Casper may be hoping that Matt Tibbles can do a job and hold some of these guys up. And Softy is on the hard compounded tyres, whereas Machine Ireland and Casper has gone to the softs.
Yep, and Dom Smith is going to be gobbled up as well. And look at Machine Island. He's making a move on Matt Tibbles very quickly as well. And he's got such overspeed. He might even have a chance on Casper here. And he's thinking of a chance on Casper here. He's gone to the inside line. The Red Bull driver sends it to the inside. They very nearly touch. And Casper runs a little bit wide. And that gives the chance for the Red Bull driver once again. But he's on the outside line. And it worked for Softy. But it hasn't worked in combat for Casper. Matt Tibbles made his way past Dom Smith as well. But look at these 2. Line astern. And the battle for the lead of the race. Machine Island, who won in Brazil. Casper, who won in Monaco. And, well, who's going to come out on top here? Softy, now stuck behind Dom Smith.
Yeah, Softy's dropped behind this battle for the victory of the Grand Prix at the moment. Machine Ireland is right on the back of Casper in the Alpine. The 2 guys on the softs. Maybe Softy's made a mistake going on to the hard compounded tyres. We'll see later on in the Grand Prix as the tyres come to him. But this time, there's no interruptions. There's no Matt Tibbles to give Casper some extra helping of DRS. It's going to be pure speed in that Alpine versus the DRS of that Red Bull, and if it's anything to go by so far in this race, it should be a very easy move for Machine Ireland, depending on how much downforce he's got on that car. He'll open it up. He won't use any of his battery because he's got absolutely none to use, but he should be able to make a move, as you already see him break out of the slipstream. Down the inside he goes. He blocks off the corner and takes the provisional lead of the Grand Prix.
This race has just come alive. You know, I mean, we had a good stint in the first instance, but, you know, Softy, look how far he's dropped back. And although those tyres will come to, I know we can't get ahead of ourselves, but that's a huge deficit that he's got already.
Yeah, it's a big gap, and it's going to be not impossible to claw back, but he's going to have to put some work in, get the temperature of those tyres up and get those hards working. You should expect them by the end of the Grand Prix to be back up battling these guys. And then Casper now, who's looking in the rear wing of that Red Bull, he's going to have to try and make his move again. And there's a wee bit of traffic ahead in the Williams. You'll want them to try and get out of the way, but obviously this is for position technically because those guys have stopped. The Machine Ireland is going to try and make a move for P5 into turn number 1. He doesn't even think about it, obviously just protecting and preserving his calm. Picks up another penalty. But Softy, he's not making much inroads, is he, on Matt Tibos?
No, he's not, but look at this. We've got Machine Island, who's just gone to the inside of Kai, and Kai's had to cut the track. And look, Casper's trying to follow through, and he does follow through. Kai's lost 2 positions there in a matter of corners, and that is big for these two. This is huge, because now they're right on the back of Cam, who, let's be honest, is going to have to pit again. But, you know, Softy's just a speck in the background now, as these three, Matt Tibos included, are making the moves they need to make.
Absolutely, they're getting the job done. Machine Ireland got past Cam now. It's now Casper's turn to get the job done, get past and focus on winning the French Grand Prix. Matt Tibos behind is looking to make a move on Speed Kai as well, as they both should get their moves done this time. And I believe Matt Tibos having a bit more of a fight back from Kai, but he does eventually get past. And Softy is still falling behind, even though these guys are battling.
Yeah, he's just, you know, on those hard tyres, he just can't get them working. And, you know, we've seen from Cam, I mean, Cam's been on those softs for probably, 10 laps now. So, you know, this is where these guys are going to be towards the end of the race when Softy's hards are coming in. You know, we saw how good Softy was on the hards towards the end of the Monaco Grand Prix. So, you know, maybe that's what he's expecting here. But for the moment, at least, you know, he's losing track position. And when Cam and Kai disappear all of a sudden, he's not going to have DRS from anybody.
No, absolutely not. He needs to get the moves done. As Matt Tibos looking to get moved past Kai, he does. Softy had a sniff, but fought better of it. Probably the smart decision. But now we're back at the beginning. Can Casper get the move done on Machine Iron as they come through the right left into the next right? And as we get ready for this slingshot on to the main straight, there's going to be DRS. There's going to be a bit of the bar to use in that Alpine. Can he get close enough to make the move stick? He should close that gap, but the gap was very big. It's closing. He moves to the left side. There's just absolutely nothing to defend with, I believe. We're going to get a lot of that tennis-like rally overtakes in the next few laps.
Yeah, I think we are. Softy's finally got past Kai, but he really struggled. He tried at the end of the Sector 1 and just had nothing to be able to get past him. As Machine Island still sticking to the back of that Alpine as these two are closing on Court Gill, as Machine Island closing on Casper, and I thought he might try and make a move into the recently rebranded Horseshoe Corner. We'll have to find out what that is in French, and maybe that's what we can call it. As Court now getting involved in the battle for the lead, and he held up Casper a little bit there, didn't he? And that gives Machine Island a bit of an opportunity. Yeah,
Machine Island is smelling blood in the water. He knows Casper is vulnerable behind the Alfa Romeo of Court Gill. Court Gill, who's had a wee bit of a day holding some people up, and look at Casper, he's got the slipstream. He'll get the move done. Machine Ireland needs to try and get the move done into turn 1 to hold on to the battle for the lead, and he does. That's very good work from the two guys leading the Grand Prix.
So Softy's now what, the best part of 4 seconds? Best part of 5 seconds behind the leader now. You know, are their tyres going to drop off that much?
They will drop off. Softy needs to stay as close as he can for that drop off, though, because that drop off's going to happen in the next 3 to 4 laps. Softy now with the DRS.
Here comes Machine Island, though. He's stalking that Alpine, but stalking's all he can do. He's not close enough or got enough power to make an attack, but Casper's run a little bit wide there, and that might give a little bit of a sniff to the Red Bull driver. But he's depleted his battery, so he's got nothing to attack with. And he's right on the slipstream, and he's going to pull to the inside line through the fastest corner on the track, and he takes the lead of the race.
Absolutely great, but Casper is not going to give this up. He wants to win the race, he wants to lead it, and he has to yield around the outside of the final bit of that corner. And Machine Ireland takes the lead where you wouldn't have really have expected it, but what a move from the Red Bull man. And Softy, he's into the DRS now of Matt Tibos. He's doing what he needs to do to catch up, and Softy, he just needs to keep that gap coming down, because it is coming down now. Softy seems to be hitting a bit of a groove. He just needs to keep that gap closing down.
that move was absolutely superb. And I know Casper's just about to breeze past. As you said, we're sort of in this tennis rally point of this race now with 5 laps to go, including this one we've just started. And look, they're just trading places. It's to the point where it's like watching MotoGP. You almost don't care that they're changing places now for the lead. This is fantastic racing between these two drivers.
This is what they need to do, though. This is kind of like, we can't have these big battles that are going to cost us time. These overtakes that they're making, they aren't really costing anyone time, so they're not losing time to Softy trying to battle each other. Softy is obviously gaining time now that his tyres are in the right window as he's trying to get past Matt Tibbles. But look at Machine Ireland, he's right on the back now. He's side by side going into gets the move done before we even get to the corner. And Softy is now past Matt Tibbles. And that gap that was looking about 4 seconds is now looking closer to 2.
I wouldn't count Court out of this. He's done the hards as well. I know he's been on them since very early on, but if their tyres really do struggle and start to hit a cliff, Court's in a good place, actually. He was keeping within DRS of them up until just, a couple of corners ago, so he's not going to be easy to overtake for Softy either, so Court can play a big part in this race.
Yeah, definitely. He's had a great 2 races tonight, and yeah, even though the tyres are 13 laps old, he's got them in the window Softy didn't have them in earlier. He's got them in a window where they're working well. You would expect him to be losing a lot more time to the front two than he is, but he's just not, and that gap is actually broken out a wee bit between Machine Ireland and Casper. And Softy, 7 tenths behind. You think the move should be reasonably doable for Softy, but Court could be on for a very strong finish here. Obviously Matt Tibbles is going to try and make a move as well, but Court's on for a very good top 5, maybe even podium if mistakes are made.
Yeah, and we see the top 2 once again heading towards their favourite battlefield, which is the very long main straight at this track. 3.5 tenths of difference, and I'm pretty sure we're about to see another change for the lead. Actually, I'm certain. Oh, there he is. As Softy makes a move on Court, and now 3.5 laps to go, 2 seconds down. Can't count that Aston Martin driver out.
Yeah, the tyres have come to him. They're in the working window. He kept that gap, like you said, around about 4 seconds, so it was doable. He couldn't lose any more time than that. It's 1.9 now, and he's just got to keep his head and keep going, because the pace he's going at, he's going to catch these guys in the last lap, which could make the last lap very entertaining, even though it's already going to be entertaining. The gap is around about 2 tenths of a second now. Casper seems to be struggling through that final sector of the lap, isn't he?
Yeah, he does. Very odd. Look how close Machine Island is to the back of Casper. This is really, really great racing. We're being treated tremendously for what we're seeing at the moment, but Machine Island, without that battery, just cannot make a move, and that could cost him in the end.
Yeah, definitely could. He's kind of gained a bit more battery actually than he had previously. He's got about 10% more, but Casper currently sitting around about 38% as it flickers on my screen, not letting me get some statistics. But the gap is just so close that the battery isn't really going to matter. It's kind of going to be who's in second when we start lap 19 if this Grand Prix is most likely going to win this Grand Prix. We might see some Saudi Arabia like trying to stop for the DRS to let someone else hit the DRS on the final.
I think we could well do. It really wouldn't surprise me at this rate. But there we go. Another main straight is gone, and Machine Island leads the race. And Casper is going to try... Oh, no, we're not going to have this again. Not again, surely. Casper into the fast right-hand turn, and he takes the lead of the race. Machine Island's going to hold it round the outside. Is he? No. He ducks in behind the Alpine driver, and we're about to start the penultimate lap, and Softy is lurking.
That battle gained him 4 tenths. Softy is going to be involved in this battle come the end of this Grand Prix. Softy, he was licking his lips seeing those two guys going